कुमार स्वामी नायक है गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की
In the news tonight, students fall ill, ministries investigate. COVID-19 vaccines are safe. And Sodelpa seeks audience with Speaker.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nana.
Pulawanaka, Fiji. An investigation is underway to ascertain how 35 students of Dean Bandhu Memorial School in Suva fell ill after a classroom birthday celebration. It's alleged these students fell sick after eating chocolate. Health Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong says they have initial reports, but there needs to be discussions with school management and the people involved. Pranita Prakash reports.
The potential causes of how the students got sick is still being tested, as 2 students remain admitted at the CWM hospital.
The ingredients being used and also the wrappings, but again we have to allow the environmental health officers to be able to do that, and also the testing that needs to happen in terms of lab, and until that actually becomes clear, then we can actually say that this is a particular cause.
Dr. James Fong says all the students, including the 2 under observation, are in good health.
Nothing serious. Yeah, they're nothing serious. They just went through the normal observation, and from the reports I got yesterday, nobody has anything serious there.
The Education Ministry is yet to receive a detailed report from the head of school. The police force is also conducting its own investigation. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama assures that the AstraZeneca vaccine works and is safe. A day after Fiji's vaccination campaign began, Bainimarama says the vaccine is the key to economic recovery. Kelly Vadala reports.
The head of government has called on all Fijians to support the rollout of the vaccination program for COVID-19.
This vaccine is part of the arsenal of public health measures that we have employed to date, that we are relying on to protect our people and prepare our nation to re-engage with the rest of the world and to claim the position in global affairs we've worked so hard to achieve.
Opening the nationwide consultation meeting on the development of the surgical, obstetric and anesthesia plan in Suva, Bainimarama says Fiji looks forward to receiving the rest of the vaccines.
We are working on procuring all of the safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines. We need to see that our people are immunized alongside the citizens of developed nations. We will not allow ourselves to be left behind.
The World Health Organization has applauded Fiji for its containment efforts.
The way the Ministry of Health has worked with all the other sectors, the leadership across from the top of government to all the sector ministries working together to really make sure that Fiji has been protected.
The Prime Minister has also acknowledged the World Health Organization and the COVAX facility for providing the first 12,000 doses of the vaccine. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong says anti-vaxxers will not derail the government's COVID-19 vaccination drive. Dr. Fong highlighted this while opening the post-COVID-19 training for airport operators and border security agencies in Nadi today. Philippa Naikaso reports the ministry says it will do all it can to educate people.
Dr. James Fong stresses that misinformation usually drives people into becoming anti-vaxxers.
From the medical perspective, we don't consider the anti-vaxxers as people like enemies of the state or anything like that. We consider them as people who require some level of extra explanation and understanding. And that is the strategy that the Ministry of Health will always take with regards to people who have sentiments that are not conducive towards vaccination.
However, the worry for authorities is that the anti-vaccination movement can hinder their work to reopen borders, especially with the AstraZeneca vaccine program rolled out yesterday.
One of the ideas that we really want to push hard on is the idea of opening borders within vaccinated corridors, so that we create our own quarantine corridors within vaccinated corridors, where within the quarantine corridors people can be a little bit more free, travel can be a lot more free. But of course all those efforts will never come to a realization if there is ongoing anti-vaccine sentiments.
According to the WHO, accurate information regarding the vaccination program is critical.
So we welcome our friends from the media in supporting our efforts to make sure that accurate and important information reach the public every time on the issue of vaccination.
The Health Ministry will continue to vaccinate 6,000 frontline workers in the coming days and weeks. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
The Ministry of Health is advising frontline workers who received AstraZeneca vaccinations that it's normal to feel some side effects. This has been confirmed by Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong after FBC News was notified of side effects among a few workers vaccinated yesterday. Dr. Fong stresses experiencing minor side effects is a sign that the vaccine is doing its work.
There are some people who are worried. The worst one I've seen so far is the hand is still painful a few days after, a few hours after. Some have got a bit more worried about it. They've come up to, to be seen at Nandi Hospital just to be sure. But we haven't seen anything major.
Some common side effects include tenderness, swelling or redness at the injection area, headache, muscle ache, tiredness and fever. And Felipe Naikaso is live now from Nandi. Felipe, what is planned post-COVID-19?
Edwin, the training that was also opened by the PS today will help or will assist frontline workers identify gaps within their standard operational processes and improve their SOP for COVID-19 protocols. The training was vital, said Dr. Fong, because the government is still committed to trying to reopen its borders and create bubbles between the New Zealand and Australian government on which tourists can travel to Fiji at any time. The participants were also reminded that despite travel restrictions, travel globally was restricted, there are still transnational organized crimes that are continuing, and they are thriving, generating billions of dollars. These include through counterfeit goods, human trafficking, and smuggling of arms and hard drugs. So not only are they trying to contain the pandemic, our frontline workers are also trying to ensure they pick up on these crimes, especially when the borders reopen.
Up ahead, FNPF payouts extended and millions paid out in Itoke leases.
मैं टोटली दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Welcome back. The Fiji National Provident Fund has so far paid out $234.8 million under the COVID-19 Relief Assistance Program. Acting Chief Executive Viliame Vondonaivalu says that of that, $109.8 million was topped up by the government, while $125 million was paid out of members' accounts. Kritika Kumar reports.
34,866 members continue to receive fortnightly installments of $220 under Phase 2, Round 4.
Total of 30.6 has been paid. 24.3 of these were paid by government. A final payment remains for Phase 2, Round 4, and this will be dispersed next week, Tuesday on the 16th of March.
19,229 members were assisted under Phase 3, Round 3, with $11.7 million paid out and $5.8 million topped up by the government. The Fiji National Provident Fund has extended the COVID-19 withdrawal relief for Phases 2 and 3 to June.
Phase 3 and 4 will open next week on the 15th of March 2021. Phase 2, Round 5 will open a week later on Monday, the 22nd of March 2021.
Members who have exhausted their general account will continue to receive government subsidies.
Because if you look at Phase 2, much of the support has been coming from government. In fact, about 85% is actually subsidized by government.
More than 39,000 members have insufficient balances in their general account. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
And Kritika Kumar joins us live now. Kritika, are there any types of other assistance being rolled out?
Edwin, the Fiji National Provident Fund will be rolling out COVID-19 relief assistance for its voluntary members from the 12th of next month. Voluntary members will be able to apply for a minimum of $100 and a maximum of $1,100 from their general account. However, the members need to have a minimum of $135 in their general account. Meanwhile, given the low number of applications received for the COVID-19 relief assistance Phase 4, the fund has taken a decision to close Phase 4 from 31st of this month. Phase 4 was for those Fijians who have been unemployed from January 2010 to September 2019 and are still unemployed. Edwin.
Thank you, Kritika. Social Democratic Liberal Party leader William Ngavoka is now seeking an audience with the Speaker of Parliament over the party's parliamentary grant. This comes as SODELPA desperately tries to take back control of funding which, under the leadership of Sitiveni Rambuka, was directed to individual party MPs. Apenisa Wangairandovu reports the grants are allocated to elected political parties, specifically for the functioning of the party's parliamentary offices.
SODELPA leader William Ngavoka says Fiji First and the National Federation Party are using their grant where they see fit, except for SODELPA.
We just want to make sure that it is fair to SODELPA, that the other political parties are also using the grant as they deem fit. So SODELPA should also use that fund as we deem fit. Now that is critical.
Ngavoka is adamant that their parliamentary office and SODELPA's main office be in charge of the grant. Former SODELPA General Secretary Andilitia Ngioniba Ravi and other MPs want to keep their grants.
I am not aware of the real situation of SODELPA finances, but it may appear to be that way if there is an intention to use the party parliament grant.
The SODELPA leader says the party's board resolved in its last meeting it will take over the grant for the effective, efficient and transparent function of its parliamentary roles and duties. Some SODELPA MPs claimed last year the grant was being abused to pay staff and meeting venues. Apenisa Wangairandovu, FBC News.
Itoke land leases generate $43.4 million annually. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama cited the figure after social media claims that Itoke land is not safe in the hands of the government. Sanyani Boila reports there are over 47,000 Itoke land leases under various arrangements.
30% of Itoke leases are for agriculture, covering 166,000 hectares.
This land is used to plant sugarcane, livestock farming, root crops, rice farming, vegetable farming and other plants. Other leases include housing, businesses and tourism. This is part of the TLTB's programs to help generate income for landowners.
Bainimarama says the government is also paying landowners to allow people to remain in informal settlements on Itoke land.
The government has paid $2.78 million and another payment will be done once the new leases are finalized. These will greatly benefit landowners, at the same time help squatter dwellers to have homes.
The Prime Minister adds that landowners have received more than $80 million for continuing to lease their land for agriculture.
This is paid directly to landowners and no percentage of this payment is paid to TLTB. This is to encourage landowners to lease their land to be a source of income for their matangali.
I think this is a good concept, especially for Itoke.
85% of Itoke leases have been renewed, compared to 47% in 2008. Sanyani Boila, FBC News.
The Social Democratic Liberal Party is planning the recruitment of its new General Secretary following the resignation of Emeline Duitu Turanga. Party leader William Ngavoka says Duitu Turanga was instrumental in returning SODELPA to Parliament and it's sad to see her leave. Deputy General Secretary of the party, Lenaitasin Duru, will be acting in the position until the new appointment is made within a month. The party will have a board meeting next week to discuss the process of recruiting a new General Secretary.
Within 30 days, we should have a new GS. But in the meantime, Mr. Lenaitasin Duru is standing in. He has been understudying MLA. He's been the Deputy General Secretary over a number of months, and a very capable operative.
And now we turn to business with Whitney.
Thanks, Edwin. Coming up in business tonight, rice production may decline. And in growing Fiji, protecting biodiversity. Stay with us.
Bula, alang gonoa, ilutoka, dutalita ka ng Bula FM, bertini nambang 2 NSR.
Bula FM, nambang 2 NSR.
Fiji Rice Limited expects a 60% drop in their production this year as a result of the recent cyclones. As Eleanor Turangaiviu reports, only last year the company recorded its highest production in 7 years.
Fiji Rice Limited produced 221 tons of rice worth over $16,000 last year after taking in 1,322 tons of paddy. It will be a different story this year due to the impact of Tropical Cyclone Ana and Tropical Cyclone Yasa.
Very much it has been affected. I think we were looking at about 60% of our production being down. So which basically means we had 1,300 tons. It could be, we expecting around 500 tons or so, 600 tons or so this year.
Together with the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Public Enterprise, Fiji Rice Limited implemented a quick recovery plan where $150,000 was set aside to help farmers recover.
And so far we have given out almost $80,000. $80,000 of work is expected to be done on the farms, and that is monitored by Ministry of Agriculture.
The company expects a good result within the next 4 to 5 months, bearing in mind there are also challenges beyond their control.
And there are challenges like weather, costs involved, fuel costs and delivery costs. Those are a lot of the factors that affect the supply.
70% of the paddy supply comes from Riketi and Mbua, 20% from Lambasa and Senganga, while 10% supply comes from Vitilevu. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
We now join Sanifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Good evening. The Aussie and Kiwi dollars have steadied against the greenback, and sentiment for those currencies remains strong due to rising commodity prices and expectations of an acceleration in global trade. Meanwhile, the US dollar and US Treasury yields have been rising steadily due to expectations that the Federal Reserve's loose monetary policy and fiscal stimulus will stoke inflation. Sentiment for the US dollar remains positive as the economy recovers from the pandemic and following final approval of President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus bill in Congress. Meanwhile, the euro was in focus ahead of a European Central Bank meeting today, where policymakers are expected to send a message that they will prevent bond yields from rising further and harming the bloc's economic outlook. That's all for now from HFC Bank, Vinaka.
Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. Once again, while it rose versus the Chinese yuan and the US dollar, the Fiji dollar weakened slightly against the Aussie and Kiwi dollars. The Sangamoli also gained on the PNG Kina but lost some ground versus the euro and the yen. Looking at commodities, the price of oil is back on the rise at $65 a barrel. Gold gained $17 to $1,727 per ounce, and silver closed up at $26.21 an ounce. Three schools in Kandavo will be rebuilt at the cost of $3 million, says Minister for Education Rosie Akbar. The rebuilding will be financed with the assistance of the Japanese government. During the groundbreaking ceremony for a new girls' hostel and classrooms at Vunise Secondary School in Kandavo, Akbar highlighted that $600,000 will be invested in that project. Akbar says it will be completed by the end of the year.
We will bring to you new classrooms, new furniture and new resources, because without that, I'm sure you will not be able to fulfill your potential.
And that's it from Business Tonight. We now join Venina with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Whitney. Good evening. Ahead in sports tonight, National Rep claims first gold at Triple N Zone. And World Cup postponement, a blessing for Fijiana Sevens. This and more coming up.
I'm Ini from Raki Raki. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
National rep Vili Maina Naitukinivalu claimed the first gold medal at the Triple N Zone at the ANZ Stadium in Suva this afternoon. Naitukinivalu finished first in the open girls 3,000 meters for Naitasiri Secondary School, clocking a time of 11 minutes 55.13 seconds. Nathanieli Mohan claimed gold in the boys event. Aquila Dama has the details.
She ran for Fiji in the 5,000 meters at the 2019 Pacific Games in Samoa, and in the same year she finished fourth at the Coca-Cola Games, but now she has a mission.
My aim this year is to beat those who finished ahead of me in 2019, and I'm hoping to better my time.
Naitukinivalu is not the only athlete out to do something special in the Fiji finals. Lomaivuna High School's Nathanieli Mohan, who is competing for the first time, claimed gold in the boys 3,000 meters.
I wish I could turn back time so I could start running when I was in Form 3. I could have won gold.
Defending girls champion Andi Thakumbau School won a silver medal today in the 3,000 meters and are expected to dominate tomorrow.
Now looking at the results today, it shows a lot. We came in wanting to take the 3,000 medal, but then the Naitasiri provincial proved us wrong, and I know they've been preparing well. And so are all the other schools in the Triple N Zone.
The Triple N Zone continues tomorrow at the ANZ Stadium with the 1,500 meters starting at 8:30 a.m. You can watch the action live and exclusive on FBC Sports Channel on the Walesi platform. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
The postponement of Rugby World Cup 2021 provides an advantage for the national men's and women's sevens preparing for the Olympic Games. World Rugby postponed the tournament to next year, which means the Fijiana 15s will have to wait a little longer for their World Cup debut. However, the postponement may benefit the Fijiana sevens. Aquila Dama has more.
The postponement may be disappointing, but in a way, it's a blessing in disguise for the Fijiana Sevens Olympic preparations.
We've come a long way since the new year, 2021, was so good in terms of our prep and how we want to align ourselves, covering all our blocks of training, going towards the Olympic in July.
With no test matches confirmed, all resources and time will be directed to both the national team's pathway to the Olympics.
Our main focus now will be on the preparation of our two teams to the Olympics, and it allows the Fijian coaches, Fijian management team to plan and prepare better.
The Olympic Games will be held in Tokyo, Japan from 23rd July to 8th August. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Digicel Fiji has today reaffirmed its sponsorship of both the Suva Rugby Union's Escort Shield and Koroturanga Trophy for another 2 years. The mobile phone company today gave a total sponsorship of $12,000 to the Suva Rugby Union to kickstart its weekly club competition, which begins on Saturday. This is part of the Digicel and SRU 3-year deal penned last year. Digicel Fiji Chief Executive Farid Mohammed says after a successful season last year, they're hoping that this partnership can take the competition to a whole new level.
Last year we started our partnership with Suva Rugby Union for their Koroturanga Championship and Escort Shield competitions, and we were delighted to have joined hands with Suva Rugby Union to bring grassroots rugby back to a level that, during difficult times of COVID, and they definitely delivered superb on that.
Tailevu Naitasiri suffered its first defeat in the Digicel Futsal League Southern Zone last night. The Sushil Singh coach side fell to a star-studded Rewa 6-4 in round 4 of competition at the FMF Gymnasium in Suva. Talimata Rekula reports.
Tailevu Naitasiri struggled to convert their chances into goals, and coach Sushil Singh is concerned.
Both teams have evenly created chances, but their finishing on the day was better, so they came out winners. So definitely we'll try to work on that area and improve in finishing some of the chances that we have been creating in the game.
Defense is also an area they need to brush up on.
They had more chances they created, so we should strengthen our defense. We like our defense. That's it.
The loss has not deterred them from winning the Southern League title.
We want to do well in the league. The last time we finished third in the Southern League, so definitely we want to move up further.
The teams regrouped today before playing in round 5 here at the FMF Gymnasium. Navua faces Suva at 6 p.m, Lami takes on Rewa at 7 p.m, and Nasinu battles Northland Tailevu at 8 p.m. Talima Terkula, FBC Sports. Manchester City returned to its winning ways in style with a thumping 5-2 win over Southampton today. City moves 14 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. The Fiji National Rugby League plans to create pathways for outstanding players in the Fiji Secondary School competition. With games entering the 4th round this weekend, the Fiji Rugby Secondary Schools League has seen a significant improvement in competition rival schools. The presence of the FNRL coaching staff at every competition will help identify talent.
After conducting the coaching clinic, that they have seen potential rugby league players watching the games on Saturdays when they come every Saturday and watch the games for the under-19. And we do hope that there will be some pathways provided for our under-9 to go through to join in for our junior Mbati or for our national team.
The Southeastern Zone sees a different format this year for the under-19 grade as more teams have joined. Chief Executive Donna Tambe has commended the two respective zones for their efficiency in organizing the tournament.
Interesting to see that the format for the Southeastern Zone has been introduced because of the influx of under-19 teams. I think this is the first time that they had to alter the format, given that they were not able to sort out a fixture.
The champion teams in each zone will be determined this weekend with quarterfinals at St. Marcelin Grounds and Gavi Park respectively. 18 teams are competing for top honours in the under-19 grade of the Fiji Secondary Schools Vodafone Trophy competition. That's it from Sports Tonight. In new media, a new gaming phone has hit the market. This and more after the break.
Mulai here, Tavwa, we love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
And now to weather with Angie.
Hello to you and welcome to the Weather World. It's been a wonderful day across the country. The sun was full on shining with, of course, the humidity level to talk about. Well, let's just be happy that it's Thursday today. Now moving on, checking out the west, no doubt about sunshine here. It's always nice and bright when it is. Eastwards from Pek Habarasuva, sunshine came with its family. And up north, more sunshine in store. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Now turning to the tides, low tide at 11:49 p.m. with high tide at 6:04 a.m. Sunrise at 6:08. For tomorrow, more sunshine for us with Triple N happening at the stadium and sure to stay hydrated. Tomorrow's temps, most centers will be cool at 32 to 34 degrees. And looking further on to Saturday, more great spells coming towards us. That's all the weather news from my end. Have a wonderful evening. It's back to Edwin.
Thank you, Angie. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we ask, should the standard of street food be lifted?
I would give a big appreciation to those that are struggling to earn for their families. And I would recommend if there were more sanitary or hygienic professionals, because the foods are kind of lovely.
Be mindful of the things that you buy. Make sure it is fresh and they have proper hygiene.
Street food stalls should up their game to prevent sickness.
it is recommended for them to use hygienic equipment, not just because of the food, but also the health of the Fijian citizens that are at stake here. And also, I would recommend if the Suva City Council could also provide a space for them.
Recapping our main stories, ministries investigate how 35 students fell ill after eating chocolate. COVID-19 vaccines are safe, says Prime Minister, and FNPF announces extended payouts. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we are asking, should more awareness be created on gender equality in Fiji? Visit our FBC News website to answer. And on to our shot of the day, trying to catch the setting sun, sent in by Meli Tanuku from Laos. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Modemanda.
Hi, I'm Asalika and I'm from Motoka and I love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.